V11 is the V12. All right. So before I get into another example, or we start designing another example, we are gonna talk about another thing, which is how do we use visual force pages. All right. So let's understand how and where we are going to use these visual force pages and how we are going to call the visual force pages. That is important, right? The pages that you are designing now, what can you do with this page? The big question is where to use visual force page and how to call the visual force page. Okay, so that is the thing. So far we are just creating the pages, keeping them as templates. That's absolutely fine. But where can I use them and how do I call those pages, right? End user is definitely not going to type this apex /v12 and all that stuff in the URL, right? End user just needs to call it through some button or some connect, right? So there are few ways of calling it. First is create a tab for VF page. Okay, so you can create a tab for the visual force page. All right, so let's look into this. How do we do that? Just go to setup and then go to create tabs, setup, create, go to tabs. While you create the tab, you have an option of selecting a visual force tab. Here it is. Select new visual force tab. All right, and then you can select a visual force page for your tab, whichever you want. All right, so let me select this one and edit. Give it a label and a name as you usually do with any other component. The tab, select a tab style, whatever, and just go to next. So rest everything is same. The way we create a tab, visible for all the profiles, absolutely okay, no problem with that. Next, make it visible under all apps, that's fine. Okay, so that creates a visual force tab for my visual force page. Do you see this? Op edit, tab got created. Now clicking on this tab will take you to the visual force page. It automatically takes you to the visual force page. Yeah, got it. So this is one way of calling a visual force page. Second is override a standard page using VF page. So you can also use a visual force page to override a standard page. Okay, so the other way is override an existing page. So let's say I have this accounts page here. All right, accounts detail page we have. Okay, now when I go to an account and I click on that, when you click on an account, what happens? You see the account detail page in this way. Right? So this is how you see the account detail page. All right. Remember we created a visual force page which had tabs for the account, right? I want to use that visual force page to override this standard page. When I open a record, that record should open in this format basically. Okay, so how do you do that? It's very simple. You just have to go to setup. We're talking about account page overriding, right? So you just need to go to customize, and then under customize you have to go to accounts. One second. So you just go to customize. Under customize you have accounts. Under accounts you have that option called buttons, links and actions. Okay, so you have to go to this option is available under every object. Right now we are dealing with account, that is the reason why I have gone to account. You have this option under leads, campaigns, opportunities, your custom objects, everything has this button, links and actions. So you can just go to button, links and actions. Okay, and you have to override the view page. View is the detail page which shows the detail of the record. You just have to click on edit and select visual force page here. So instead of the normal page, I want it to display the visual force page. Which page? You just select that. I want to show V5. Fine. Click on save. Done. Alright. So your visual force page has got created here. Visual force page has overridden your standard page. Now if you click on accounts and then if you click on any of the record, that record will open in that particular format, the one that we created. V5 is like this. I think V4 was the one with the tabs and all those things. Alright, no worries. Got it? So now you don't have to go and supply the ID in the URL and all. You have already done the overriding of the standard page. Got it? So this is second way of using a visual force page. Third is insert a visual force page into a page layout. Okay. So the other thing that you can do is you can also insert a visual force page inside a page layout. In this case what I have done, I have overridden the standard page. But if I don't want that, I can also insert a visual force page inside an existing page layout. Okay, so let me just remove this overriding and all. Let me do the other thing. So to remove this, to make it the default page, again you just have to go to the setup customize thing, accounts, buttons, links and actions, click on edit, so no override, click on save. Alright. Now you will just need to go and click on the page layout. So let's go to the page layout. And go to the existing page layout which is being used. We are currently using account layout, so just let's go to that. Okay, in the page layout you have an option of selecting the Visual Force pages. Okay, and you can drag and bring the Visual Force page and put it here. Okay, first of all let me bring the section here, one column section, and then I will drag the Visual Force page on that section. Got it? Now what has happened? This Visual Force page has come up as a section on my page layout, on the existing page, on the actual page. Okay, so small part of that will be covered by my Visual Force page. Let's go ahead and click on save. Now if you click on this, open a record, see, this part is the Visual Force page part, this one, right? So let me just go and remove this. So for removing, again you have to go to setup, because this was done on the page layout, so you just have to go to the page layout. Okay, removed. Let's go ahead and click on save. Clear? So 3 ways of using Visual Force pages we have understood. So anyone who can quickly tell me what 3 ways we have talked about? What are the 3 ways? Anyone quickly?
One is we can create.
What is the first one?
We can create a tab individually. We can create a tab for Visual Force page individually, and we can work on that. Second is we can add into the current setup to that Visual Force page.
Override the standard page.
Yeah, yeah. So we will go into that object and we will add our Visual Force page there. And third is through page layout we can drag and drop that particular section into whatever the section we want to put it.
Okay, very good. There is one more way of using a Visual Force.
The third one is like insert a Visual Force page into page layout.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So there is one more way. On a Visual Force page, you can create a link for another Visual Force page. Okay. Create an action to call a VF page. Okay. For example, I want to call page 10 from page 5. Okay. So I can do that. It takes slash VF, not VF, V5 or V4. Okay. Now from here I want to call another page. Let's say V6 is what I want to call. So I can simply create a command link here or a command button which will call that page for me. So I want to use command link or button. So first thing is a form which is required. Inside the form, let me put text command button. Value can be show all accounts. Action. Okay. In the action, you just have to say apex/page name v6. That's it. So if you want to this action to take you to some other page, you just have to say /apex/page name. That's it. Let me make it a command link. No difference as such, but link will look better than a button here. So the show all accounts will take you to V6. V6 basically is a list page, so it can be, it can take you here. Got that thing? So connection we have understood. All right. So that is the fourth way. Create an action on a VF page to call another VF page. All right. Now there is one more thing which we can do. Create a custom button. Okay. We can also create a custom button to call a Visualforce page. Okay, so this custom button can be used on the standard pages. How do we create a custom button? Go to setup. So the last example that we just saw was on a Visualforce page. So you are using a command button or a command link on that, right? We're going to do one more example where we're going to create a custom button. So custom button creation happens from customize accounts. Again, go back to that buttons, links and actions. Okay. And you have to create a new button here. So existing, how we can edit, we have seen that. What if I want to create a new button? So like I have an edit button, new button, delete button. Along with that, I want to have my own button. So you just go and click on new button. Okay. And just label it show all. This is a list button. Okay, and content source should be Visualforce page, and V6 is the Visualforce page that I want to display. Correct? So you can select it a detail page button, or you can select it as a list button. So detail page button will basically allow you to show the standard controller pages, because standard controller pages have details, one record details, right? The moment you select a list button, you will only be able to select the standard list controller pages. Correct? So if you see detail page, when I use, it shows me the standard controller pages. So this V1, V2, V3, V4, V5 all are standard controller pages. List button shows me V6. Why doesn't it show me other pages, V7, V8, V9, V10? We created more pages, right? Why doesn't it show me those options? We have 11 pages.
Only account page contained for the V6.
Absolutely correct. So starting V7, we have only created pages where the controller is opportunity. So here it is showing only the account pages because we are on the button of account. So it is not going to show you any page which is connected to some other object. So that is there. So I've created a list button. Click on save. Okay, done. Now the button you have created, but the problem is that the button does not appear here. Why it doesn't appear here? Because you have to bring in that button using the page layout. So again, go back to the page layout, bring in the button. So I have created the button, but the button is still not visible on the page layout. So I have to go to the customize and then go to accounts and then go to page layouts. Where is page layouts? Here it is. And then you just have to go to the custom buttons and drag and put it there. So this is the area where you have to put your custom buttons. See this small section to put custom buttons. So go to the buttons. Custom links. I saved the custom button.
Can we use quick find in buttons?
No, buttons is a small thing. Why do you need quick find here? Okay. It gets saved. Alright, give me a minute. One minute. Okay. Alright, sorry. So this is a list button. Basically, this will not work with a single, on the detail page. So this is something which cannot be, used on the detail page, layout. The page layout that we are controlling is for detail page. So there you have to use a detail page button. So let's select, let's say V4. This would work. And let me also change. I'll call it tabbed view. That's a tabbed view thing. Yes. Alright. So now it's connected to the detail thing. Now let's go to the page layout. Now it appears here, right? So sorry, that was my mistake. So when we are putting something on the detail page, that has to be a detail page button. I'll just put it here. That's it. Save it. Okay. Now on the accounts page, you open a record. You have this custom button, tabbed view. This tabbed view will automatically take you to the Visual Force page, and it will also take the reference of this record ID. So you don't have to supply the ID. The previous example that we did an override of the existing page. Now you are not overriding the existing page. On the existing page, you have created a button which will redirect you to this page. Got that? So now you can look the opportunities, cases, this way. All right. Let me know if you are clear on this. If you have any questions, doubts so far. The ways we have been, calling the Visual Force page. So these are different ways of calling Visual Force page. You can create a tab, and there is one more way which you can write a method. You can basically write a method in Apex. So that is something which we'll do later once we get into Apex. So don't worry about this part. But these 5 things you can do right now. You can create a tab for Visual Force page. You can override a standard page. You can insert a Visual Force page into the other Visual Force page. You can create an action on a Visual Force page to call another Visual Force page. You can create a custom button for the Visual Force page. Clear? Alright, so now we know all the ways of using Visual Force page, how to call Visual Force page, how to use it, right? So we know all that stuff. Alright, so that is one thing. Now let's go ahead and design one more example. So today we are going to do an example where we will pass the parameter. Okay. Passing of parameter is basically when your end user clicks on a record and that parameter is passed from that record to some other area or to some other section. So I'll give you an example what we are trying to do here. We are trying to do a very simple stuff here. Just give me one moment. Okay, yeah. So let's say we are talking about an example where you have a list of accounts, okay, and let's say this is the area where you have a list of records, okay, and now this is another section where you want to display details. Sorry. Okay. Here you have A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, A6. Okay, you have a list of records. Okay, and this is the area where you want to display details of selected record. Correct? So if the end user comes and clicks on A1, this area, this section should show details of A1. If he clicks on A2, it should show details of A2, right? So that is what we are gonna do now. Okay, in this example we will learn how do I pass a parameter from here when the user clicks on this thing, how do I pass a parameter from this record to this particular section? Not that simple. So if he clicks on A5, I want this data to be updated. You must have seen a lot of pages like this, right? So that is what we will do here, passing of parameter. Alright, so let's quickly do this. See how it works. So we'll take our account example. Okay. Standard controller equals account. Because we have to display the list, so I will have a record set var also here. Now I will put apex form in this, that will be required. I put an apex page block table here, sorry, page block here first. Inside that block I create a page block section. And inside that section I create an apex page block table. Value that I want to display inside this table is accounts. Variable is going to be A. Apex column. So this is all what we have done yesterday. So I think there is no challenge understanding what I am writing right now. A dot name type and industry. And I also don't want to see the sidebar here. Sidebar false. After this table I want one more section. Title, detail section. Okay, and here you just make it column equals. No, it's not required. That's fine. Okay. Let me put a section in the left hand side also, because otherwise it's not looking nice. Text page block section. One collapsible calls, title, list of accounts. Alright, So this is a list of accounts, and this is the detail section where I want to show the details of the selected account. Fine. So far I don't think anyone has a challenge understanding this much, because it's pretty simple. This is just what we have done earlier. Same thing. If you quickly want to have a look at the code, you can do that. Or maybe you can do this later. So it's just very simple. The page block section created a table here displaying 3 columns from account. So that is done, right? Now my requirement is that the end user clicks on any of this account and details of that account are displayed in this section in the right hand side. Okay, that is what my requirement is now. So first thing what I have to do, I have to convert this into links. First thing, this should be clickable, right? So it becomes clickable only if it is a link. So first thing, this name cannot be output field. It cannot be a read only field. It has to be a link which someone can click. So let's go and make that change. So for making that a link, what you have to do, apex column. So start of the apex column, end of the apex column. Inside that we will put a link. Apex output link. There's something called an output link, and value can be a dot name. So this time I don't want it to be output field, I just want it to be an output link. The change has, okay, not like this. Right. So now it has become a link basically. Okay, so everything is clickable link, this name. Okay, the next thing that I have to do, I have to pass a parameter here. So to pass a parameter, you just have to write another component called apex param. So apex param is used for passing a parameter. Okay, value of the parameter will be a.id. So id is what I want to pass as a parameter. Record id is, the unique identifier of the record that I want to pass as a parameter. Okay, so the value of the parameter is aid, and you have to give the name of the parameter. Name of the parameter can be anything. Call it account id. Whatever you want to put the name of the parameter, you can make it aid or whatever. Okay. So the value for this parameter that you are passing, the value is id of the record A, and name of the parameter is account id. Alright. Now the only thing that I have to do is I have to go to this other section. I have to go to this section, and here I have to call that particular parameter. That is what I need. That's it. Nothing else. Okay, so for that what we need to do, we would just need to go to this account id is here, param value a.id. Alright, in the other page block section which we have created here, I will just use another component which is called an apex detail component. I want to display the detail of the record, apex detail component. In the apex detail component, there is an attribute called subject. So earlier we have used apex detail component, but that time the detail component was getting its ID from the URL, right? There's another way of using apex detail component where you can put a subject. So the subject just has to be the ID, account ID from here. Okay. So how do you write this thing? You write it this way: current page dot parameters dot account ID. So this is just a syntax. Not sure if this is correct syntax. Okay. Apex pages dot current page. Dot parameters okay, just give me 1 second. I'll just sort it out. Yeah, it's gonna be current page, yeah, this way. Yes, it works. Okay, so apex detail and subject, I have supplied the account ID here. So this is just the syntax, don't worry about this part. Current page dot parameters dot which parameter? Account ID. So now the account ID which is passed from the left hand side will go into the right hand side. Click on edge communication. See, details of edge communications are displayed here. Got this? Okay, let me turn off the related list because that's making my page very long. So simple, go ahead and turn off the related list thing on the apex detail component. You have that option of turning off the related list, make it false, save it. See this? Click on United Oil and Gas, details to appear from that particular record. Alright, now the same Ajax issue is here, right? I click on a certain link and this entire page gets reloaded, whereas I just want this section to get reloaded, right? So entire refresh is not required. So here you will use Ajax in a slightly different manner. Here what you have to do, you just have to, the section that you want to get refreshed, you have to give an ID to that section. ID means just give an identifier to that section. Call it, let's say, section 1. You can give it any name, okay? Or call it details section. Okay? Give it a name to the section and go to your link. On the link you just say re-render. Re-render. Okay. So usually it is done in this way. I will just get back to you with why this re-render functionality is not working with output link. Okay. So this attribute is there actually. So I think I'll show you how to use this thing using a different example. Re-render. Is there some other attribute for this? Okay. So let's not get into that part. But otherwise, did you understand the passing of parameter? Don't get confused with that render thing. Just leave it there. Did we understand how we are passing a parameter from this left side and how we are moving it to the right side? How that part is working? So what we have done, we have created a link for the name field, and then at that we are passing on a parameter, and that parameter is being called on the other section where we are displaying the details of the record. That's what we have done.
Jeet, I have a doubt here.
Yeah, please do.
This Neha.
Yes, Neha.
If we want to pass the parameter to the next page also, like we have done to the beside section, if we want to do to the next page, the same procedure we have to follow.
Yeah, the same procedure.
Okay. Like passing the parameters, right?
Right.
Okay. Like the same thing, like detail and subject and
No.
I didn't understand. Okay.
No, see, on the next page, if you want to pass, so how do you go to the next page? That is important, right?
Yeah, we can put this link or tap button something. Yeah.
Right. So you have to the connector, wherever we have that connector, there we have to supply the maybe ID at the end of it.
Yeah,
Got
that's
that?
what. Okay, I'll work on it that day.
Yeah.
And one more
Instead
thing.
of ID, this statement will come instead of the ID. Rest, whatever you are putting as the link value, that can be done.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one more thing here, in the output link, we can give the value as a dot name. Why is that working or not? Like
No, that's not
in the
working.
output link, just we.
No. So
what's the difference of bringing outside?
So basically what happens is your output link works like this only. So you'll have to have the start of the output link, end of the output link, and put the value there. Okay, what you want to show.
Okay. And one more doubt also.
Yeah, sure.
And here we have taken like columns is equals to 1. I need to understand why we have to give here the column is equals to 1.
Okay, if you don't put columns equals to 1, then by default a page block section has 2 columns. Okay. If you delete this,
okay.
then you will see what happens. See, by default it has 2 columns. It pushes the entire table into 1 column and keeps blank space for the second column. So for that reason, I made the column equals to 1 so that it can just spread the entire table into one single column. Correct?
Yeah, just for aligning the whole section. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So by default, page block section has 2 columns. If you want only one single column there, then you have to specify. Got this?
Yeah.
Right. Any other questions on this?
I did Rohit here.
Yeah, Rohit.
I will try it today. I have some confusion, but I will try it first myself and probably I will discuss tomorrow on.
Yeah. So that's absolutely fine. I think the code is a little lengthier than as compared to the other codes that we have done. So just go back, work on this example. Suresh, you share this example. So today's session, I think you guys need to work on almost everything. This code and setting up the way we were calling the Visual Force pages, everything needs to be worked on, right? So let's go back and work on this, and tomorrow if you have any doubts, we'll talk about that part, or else we will get into the custom controller. So tomorrow we are going to get into the third type of controller, which is called the custom controller. Fine.